What's good, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. My name is Kevin, and today I am joined by Daryl.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
And Sergio.
Hello, everybody.
Well, here we go, guys. 3 times the charm with this podcast. How are y'all both feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a good thing going here.
With that being said, for this week, we're going to get a bit more personal and talk about our favorite gaming memories in which have had a tremendous impact on our lives from our passions in gaming. So how it's going to go is that we're each going to share a short story about our favorite gaming memory. We start with Daryl, and then Sergio, and then myself. So 3 stories, and in between, we'll have like a mini discussion here and there. We'll keep that on the fly, and yeah, that's how simple it is. And Daryl, could you start us off?
Yeah, here we go. So, I was kind of born into gaming. My dad was actually a pretty avid video gamer on the Nintendo NES. Actually, we also had an Atari, although I don't remember what series. He was also actually an arcade champion of the old track and field game a few times. So yeah, he was legit. He had skills, and he actually still plays and does quite well. So that's cool. But some of my very first memories were actually around watching him beat games like Zelda 2 or the first Final Fantasy or Gauntlet. Games like that I can't. To this day, I still feel really nostalgic for those games, despite, I played them, but I didn't play them a whole heck of a lot, but I do still feel nostalgic for watching him play them and complete them from a very, very early age. So pretty much my whole life, he has kind of been with me gaming. That actually picked up eventually around the time that we got the Nintendo 64, which was a little bit after it came out, and we had games like Mario Tennis 64 and Mario Kart that he played with me, and Diddy Kong Racing was a big one for us.
Awesome.
And then eventually we found out about Super Smash Brothers.
There we go.
Yeah, so we used to. That's kind of where the love of the series started. Was we used to develop our own rule sets and play mostly us versus computers or in a free-for-all or whatever. We had a lot of fun with that game. So pretty shortly after that, I found out about a local store in the mall was doing game tournaments in Super Smash Brothers. So we actually, both of us went and entered a couple times. Didn't do very well. I wasn't terribly good at Smash 64. But it was a lot of fun, and that kind of rolled into a few friends that I actually developed around that time. Like one of my best friends now, I actually met in middle school, watching him play Smash 64 and walking up like, oh man, he doesn't know who I am. I'm the king of all my friends, and he whooped me. Man, it was bad. He killed me. Man. And he and I are still friends to this day, so you'll hear a lot of that type of thing with me. But eventually, we went to a couple tournaments. We played for probably about a year and a half until the GameCube came out. And the GameCube, almost at launch, had Super Smash Bros. Melee. And the same store that was doing the tournaments in Smash 64 was also started doing tournaments in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And the deal was, if you won a tournament, you got $100 store credit, which
it's pretty good.
Yeah, to middle school version of myself, that was a lot of money, and store credit at a game store was pretty much the highest form of currency that I could think of at the time, right? So we went to a few, and Andrew, my friend, and I and my dad would all go to these tournaments and enter them, and it was all set up as a 4-player free-for-all with items on. They did it actually kind of cool. Each player could pick one item to turn on, so you could have some crazy matchups. I was always kind of trolly with that. Like I would pick if it wasn't like a home run bat, it'd be something like a hammer, something like absolutely crazy, and that maybe a lot of people didn't know how to use it. But for whatever reason, Melee really clicked with us. And the first tournament we went to, it ended up with Andrew versus myself in the grand finals. And I actually ended up taking that one. And then I went on to take a few more of them. And actually, I'm still probably have games that, through reselling and trading in and such, I'm still probably working off that balance. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So eventually that graduated beyond the local store mindset. I found a website called Smashboards, which is kind of the home for Smash tournaments and the like on the internet.
Right.
Free plug for them. And I found out about a few tournaments in my local area, and we started going to them. Now, the difference here is actual tournaments end up as a 1 versus 1, or they also have a 2 versus 2 tournament, right? So typically you do a doubles and then you do singles. It's not no items. It's not free for all or anything like that. But what it naturally led into for a good little while was I started teaming and entering the doubles tournaments actually with my dad. At the time he was playing Peach and I was playing Fox, and for whatever reason that was a really good team. And we ended up doing quite well, actually. I started making a little bit of a splash in the Central Florida scene, and we started being known as at the time, this is the worst name ever, but I was called Melee Guy.
Oh,
yeah, terrible. We've gotten a lot better since then, but we started being known as Melee Guy and his dad, right? And so
Melee Guy.
What that turned into was, my dad viewed it as kind of this is a way to connect with me, and this is a way for us to kind of bond. And what it naturally morphed into was we started looking at tournaments outside of our region. So eventually we went to like South Florida, which is a bit of a drive away, and we'd go down there for a tournament, stay the night, watch some movies and stuff, and head back up. And it was kind of a bonding experience. It was a lot of fun. What that eventually turned into was actually kind of driving around the U.S., entering tournaments. Wow. Yeah, so I remember one big vacation. It was just the two of us. We went on this road trip up through Kentucky, up to Indiana, to enter 3 tournaments on the way. That just kind of spaced out correctly. It was during a time there was this company that eventually scammed a lot of people, but it was called V Games Tournaments, and we hit several events of theirs just all in a row. Then the other real memorable one was we actually went to a Major League Gaming event. This was about my 3rd or 4th total of them, but we went to the one in DC, which was a fantastic vacation spot as well. But so we used it as a vacation, toured the city and such, and then kind of capped it all off going to this huge Major League Gaming tournament. MLG DC was gigantic, and that was the first time I got to play guys like Isaiah and Ken. And
whoa, no way!
Yeah,
you played those guys? Holy shoot! That's
I ended up with in pools with Ken, who pretty much just wrecked the entire pool. But I did get to play a tournament match with him, which was
that's
a very cool experience.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was we entered the doubles tournaments. My dad and I did, and out of 40 teams, we ended up placing 9th.
Nice.
To this day, that is still probably my favorite accomplishment with the game. Like that moment, nobody can really take that from us, and we were actually fairly close to placing in the money, which is kind of ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, one place. Oh man,
a lot of fun. So there's that, and I always appreciated my dad for taking the time, treating that as a, hey, this is an easy in, something that we both enjoy, something that we can actually spend some time doing together. and make some experiences out of it. And honestly, some of those experiences are some of my favorite experiences in my life thus far.
Hmm.
So the love of Melee and that tournament scene actually continued into later high school and even college, and ended up in as kind of a prominent player in the Orlando area, where I actually ended up teaming with another guy who was also in Central Florida. And for a long time, actually, we were kind of wrecking the entire scene. You know, we were winning a lot of doubles tournaments. His name is XR Thomas. He and I were doing really, really well. Well, it turns out he went to school about 45 minutes from where I did. So one night, a couple of the people from his school had a little band and invited me to a concert. I didn't think much of it, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go to this concert and hang out with my buddy, you know. And what I didn't realize is that a bunch of people from his school actually ended up going to that concert. And extremely long story short, that is the night that I actually met my wife.
Dang.
Indirectly through Melee, through my team's partner, because she went to the same school he did. So yeah, to say I've got a lot of memories, kind of ironically and funnily centered around Super Smash Brothers is kind of an understatement at this point.
Yeah.
So I think between those two main memories, you know, I owe a lot of my life, my friendships, and everything to in part to this game and this company, and that's probably the most special to me, and one of the main reasons I'm still here.
Right. Nice.
Dang, that is amazing. I mean, it basically, this game pretty much helped you in, you know, all walks of life in your life, and you know, you're able to find your wife, and you had a good bonding with your dad, or a great bonding with your dad. And that's, you know, your story is pretty rare, and I don't know a lot of people whose parents would have that sort of bond with their kid in terms of video games. So that's more power to you, man.
Yeah, it was completely on him. Like, so all the credit goes to him in that, you know, this is something
Right.
I'm interested in, something I want to talk about, and something I actually care about. And he noticed that and saw it as kind of a common ground. And yeah, it was very much on his side. The rest of my family doesn't really, you know, is not as into video gaming for sure as I was, but it was a way that he could see, you know, just an easy way for us to hang out together, and it turned into a lot more than it could have been.
Does he still play Smash with you every now and then?
Yeah, for sure. We still pop in Melee from time to time. He has a GameCube set up in his house. Actually,
Nice.
so
That's
when
awesome.
Nintendo released the NES Classic, so for anybody who was there, it was very hard to find, right?
Oh
So
yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it was ridiculously hard to find, and that was a problem for me because I had already scoped that out as his Christmas gift that year. So I ended up finally, there's a website called BrickSeek that I
yes.
very much
Yes.
recommend everybody check if you're looking for anything. They have a little inventory checker. So I was looking at Walmart and Target every day to see what the shipments were, if there was anything. Ended up going to a Target around 4 a.m. and standing in line for around 3 hours until they opened, and
Whoa.
managed to get one for him.
That's good.
So he does have an NES Classic, and then the next year I managed to swing in a Super Nintendo Classic because that was important too. So he has both of those and a GameCube setup. So yeah, he's definitely still does play in his free time.
Nice.
Wow.
What about Brawl and Smash on the 3DS and the Wii U? Anything on those?
So Brawl, yeah, we actually did play some Brawl. He described it best, and my apologies to anybody who thinks that Brawl is the best Smash game. he described that game as kind of like pillow fighting compared to Melee. So it
Oh,
wasn't.
oh no.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly our favorite game to play together, but we did play some. And then as far as 3DS and Smash Wii U, we have played some, but he never had those systems. So that's mostly just when he visits us and
Hmm.
then I'll show him, hey, look at this craziness. Here's Mega Man. Isn't that crazy?
Nice. And the curious question, I'm sure you guys played against each other. Who would you say was the overall better Smasher?
Oh, question of the day.
Oh man. See, the problem here is I'm gonna send him this podcast.
Oh.
So if he's listening to this, he will say he's the king of the Falcos. But no, I think I had his number a fair portion of the time. Yeah, so that's me.
Great, man. Great. That was an awesome story. And like I said before, it's nice that, well, as you said, like your dad chose to bond with you through video games, and it's super duper rare to hear about that. With that being said, we'll segue into Sergio's story. Go ahead, Sergio.
Sure. And I sort of have two stories, but neither of them is too long, so I think it should be fine.
No worries.
And so for my first one, I really fondly remember growing up as a gamer, but and also sort of indirectly, but also directly shaping the hobby of my cousin Jorge. He lives in Mexico,
Mhm.
but back when I was still there, I would visit him a lot, and whenever they came over here, same thing. So in many ways, I sort of shaped the way he became a gamer himself. So since he was about 6 years old or so, we would always hang out, and I would be the one playing the games and showing him, playing single player games and having him watch, or for the easy parts or for the parts that I knew he could handle, just sort of turning him into a gamer and slowly teaching him how things are done in games and the different genres of games, etc. We played a lot on the N64 and on the GameCube. So, for example, his favorite series today probably still is The Legend of Zelda, and
Mm.
we beat Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask together
Oh, nice.
multiple times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, multiple times.
So, those are two really highly regarded games, but we also played some not so regarded ones. We played Glover. Does either of you know Glover?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so we would rent a couple of not so great games just to try them out and, try different things. As he got older, he became more of a gamer, and his parents would get him games and consoles, and they would actually ask me, "Oh, what do you think he would want?" And I would tell them, "Oh, get him this, or he's gonna like this or want that." So many times when I was on vacation in Mexico during the Christmas times, he was getting presents, and I was there to play the new consoles or the new games with him, and it was really nice. I have really great memories. We played Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube during one of those Christmases. We also played a lot of Super Monkey Ball, particularly Super Monkey Ball 2, the mini games that it had. And I'm not sure if you guys knew, but there's a Super Monkey Ball game for the Game Boy Advance, and it's actually really good.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
played it a couple times.
Oh, nice. The mini golf game on that one is a lot of fun. So yeah, we also played a lot of FIFA. We both like soccer a lot, and
Oh,
man, those were some heated matches of
I love
FIFA.
that series, man.
Yeah.
I'll get into it later.
So we mostly played 2005. That was the one, ironically, because it's the first one that introduced the Mexican League into the series.
Mhm.
So of course we were on that one for sure.
Awesome.
And yeah, definitely the Smash Brothers games, particularly Melee and then Brawl.
Mhm.
We play those a lot. And also a lot of the Mario sports games, Mario Power Tennis and
Yeah.
Toadstool Tour on the GameCube. Yeah, those were awesome times.
Mhm.
Oh, and Strikers, Super Mario Strikers Charged. Yeah,
Oh,
we
that
need
was.
we need a new Strikers game.
For the Switch,
Yes.
yeah. I hope it can come out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he also taught me a lot too because he was into Pokemon more than I was at the time.
hmm
And when Diamond and Pearl were out, I got them and I was playing. And then by the time I went over during vacation, he had like 300 hours, and I'm like, whoa,
Oh, wow.
what have you
That's a
been
good
doing? And then
number.
so he showed me all this, and he gave me a lot of tips and tricks and a bunch of different things to do. So yeah, um, it's one of my greatest memories growing up as a gamer myself, but also sort of doing it alongside him, and both of us gaming along the way of life. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love that you said that you played primarily single player games together.
Mhm.
Because that I feel like that's something that's almost been lost lately. And
True.
Absolutely. Yeah.
the flip side of that is, I mean, streaming single player games is bigger than it's ever been. So maybe I'm just maybe I'm just looking at it a little bit wrong. But
Mhm.
I remember playing through Ocarina with two friends, right? And it was mostly just a play a section, hand the controller off. Somebody has the player's guide, and we're reading through it and
Nice.
playing together. And that was a really cool experience, and it's something that like it's kind of faded in that particular aspect.
And nowadays, I believe he still games. He mostly plays first-person shooters, which I don't really play. But I'm sure he'll be
Mhm.
down to play some Super Smash Brothers Ultimate when that hits.
Nice. Does he play first-person shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, those are his bread and butter.
sweet. Which I will get into later.
Nice.
More so on Call of Duty, but yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm obligated to bring this up at least once an episode. Have you gotten him into Splatoon yet?
Ooh.
No, no, he doesn't really like it. I did show him, but no,
Oh no.
not really. He's more into the like traditional shooters.
Oh, okay.
I had
Yep.
such hopes.
Dang it. Oh man.
So my second story also relates to the Smash Brothers series, and it's just been playing it through since Melee and all the generations after with my best friend Danny. We hang out a lot. We hang out at least once a week, and
That's awesome.
the
Yeah.
the thing that we always do every time we play Smash Brothers, and it's been changing. It's been morphing. In Melee, it was very competitive. I think that's when we were the most competitive and the most at each other, sort of not being friends when we were playing. Right, right. But with Brawl and especially now on Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U, we still have fun. We don't play as seriously.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I can't. Because I know it's him. Like even if it wasn't a tournament, I cannot bring myself to really go all out like I used to. I prefer playing against anyone else.
Oh no. Yeah.
Right, right. But yeah, we were really into it. Whenever we play, and I say we, but it's really mostly me. um, we get too into it, and we make a lot of crazy groans and noises depending on what's going on in the battle, and we come up with the cheesiest and the corniest puns and like little insults here and there. So yeah, we've actually thought about recording ourselves because it'll be pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd listen to that.
Sure. I just want to say shout out to Danny. Shout out to Danny. He's a pretty chill guy. Decoy. Excuse me, Daryl. you would definitely get along with him well. He's a pretty awesome dude.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to ask you the same. I got to ask you the same question, right? So, who would you say is better?
Dun dun dun.
Oh man, I didn't expect this.
No.
Hey, this is just a revenge question at this point.
True, you got me. I'm gonna have to say it's him
Oh no.
for now.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Man.
boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom,
I
boom.
thought you were gonna say you, man. I thought you were gonna say yo,
No.
Lieutenant Surge.
No, no, truth be told, it's I'm a Pikachu main through and through. I don't even change costumes.
Mm,
And he's got me read like a book, so
wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Dang.
no.
But hey, Ultimate is coming up and things are gonna change.
Oh man, I am super excited, and especially since both of you guys are really big Smash fans, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
No man. All right, so I guess I'm up. As Sergio has mentioned, a couple series that I'll get into. One in particular, Call of Duty, and the other one's FIFA. And I just want to get into. I'm gonna do a pre-story before, but basically, my one of my favorite gaming moments or just memories is playing with my college housemates and just getting better in a genre that I would never ever even think about being decent at, shooter games. Because back before college and both in the middle school and high school days, I used to play Counter Strike. Have you guys played Counter Strike?
No.
No,
Okay.
I've watched a ton of it, but I'm a little intimidated, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and it is very intimidating. And it is because you know where I grew up, a lot of people were into Counter Strike, and it got super competitive. We had some really good players that came out in our area, and some of my friends, they were just really good at the game, and it was one of those things where I wanted to be just as good as them, but the skill level between us was just too much, and I wasn't able to keep up. And also, combined with just trying to get the best grades and my other extracurricular activities, I just wasn't able to get to the same level and be as competitive as my friends. So it was a little discouraging, but it all changed when I got to college. I so at some point, I roomed with other people, just to get to know other people in college, and then at one point I roomed with some of my high school friends, and actually some of them were middle school friends that I've known for a while, and it was awesome because they were all big gamers, and actually on my 20th birthday, they got me Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It was awesome. I just got PS3 at the time, and I was like, whoa, okay, all right. I'm thinking, okay, console FPS. It's not gonna be that crazy. I'm not gonna be that intimidated. It's gonna be fun. It's all about having fun. It's not about winning. I'm not gonna trash talk. And at that time, I don't even know how to trash talk. I was out. At that time, I wasn't the best at not taking things too seriously. So obviously for me, I definitely care about being really good at a game. So when I first started playing Call of Duty, I was I'm gonna not say any expletives, but I definitely threw a lot out there every time I died in a match, especially team deathmatch, and a lot of throwing controllers. I have to admit, a lot of controller throwing. It was not healthy, but I just wanted to get better at the game, and I started with a very bad kill death ratio. It was at 0.3. Okay, I have to admit, it was 0.3. So that's as bad as you can get for someone who's trying really hard. But
Hey, I just want to comment that that is not as bad as you can get at that game.
oh, is it? Oh
Just
man.
speaking for a friend.
Oh, okay. I guess for me, I just thought it was pretty bad because like my other housemates, they were like at least 1.0, and I think that's like the standard. If you're 1.0 or higher, you're considered decent. If you're not, then you're more or less considered a liability. But I just try not to think about that too much, and I worked my butt off so hard for the next 5-6 months. I went from 0.3 to 0.97. So I mean, I had to say
Wow.
this. Yeah,
Nice.
I would play a lot, and the best part was that my housemates didn't give me too much crap about it. They were actually pretty supportive. In the process, they taught me how to engage in friendly banter, do some trash talking, and it was to a point where I felt really comfortable doing it, and I didn't take it too personally. And I was like, wow, I can hang with these guys, man. I think I can say some things and just keep it within respectable boundaries. So it was all good, and um, it was just a lot of fun playing Call of Duty. Even though it was a game that I got super upset at, and at times, and using my fist and banging the table, which I highly do not recommend. Since then, I have not done that, so it's all good. But it's just because I cared so much about just being as good as my friends. But the thing is that my college housemates, they were very supportive, and they were seeing my progress. Man, they knew I was improving, and I just felt so good. Like, oh my goodness, I felt so good. And at one point, it was it was a summer after junior year, and my goodness, we had like one room. All of us have our PS3s. So it was like 5 PS3s and 5 TVs. Like we were playing together Call of Duty a lot, and it didn't matter if we were winning or losing. We were in our own clan, and it was just so much fun, and a lot of laughter. There were days we would play from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We just skipped dinner. Like it was just like,
wow.
yeah, it was like for Call of Duty. I was like, man, and it was just amazing because I just felt like a part of a team. I felt like I didn't feel left behind, and I think that was one of the greatest things for me. Just from a game that I did not even expect to be good at or decent at. It was amazing. And Sergio, you mentioned FIFA series. I got into soccer. I got into soccer around the same time. My housemates, they were playing FIFA, and they knew all about the World Cup and the different teams. And I was like, holy shoot, man, there's so much to know. And like, they would talk about soccer here, every now and then. And then, when FIFA World Cup 2010 came out for the PS3, I started playing with the guys, and I got into it. Even though I was like terrible at the game, man, I just wanted to get better. And again, they were very supportive, and they told me how to play. They taught me how to play FIFA, and even in my own spare time, I actually, Wikipedia was my best friend at the time in terms of learning about soccer, learning about the Premier League in England, and just all these things. I learned about like a lot more things than I should have. For someone who didn't grow up with soccer,
Right.
different positions and the tactics, formations, and just I was so engrossed into this whole sport, more so than the NBA at the time. And I had a team that I chose, Arsenal. It was cool because like my cousins in Malaysia, they're into soccer, so that got me into soccer too. So that's part of the reason why I got into soccer. And with my college housemates, man, besides Call of Duty day after day, we had battles, man. It's just one-on-ones, and it's like, oh my gosh, how'd you make that goal? And wow, what a save. Man, it was just crazy. Oh gosh. And even when I was playing single player, okay, like I made my own character, because when FIFA 11 came out, you can like digitize your face. You take a picture and then like you upload to the website, and you can digitize, your face. And I was
forgot
like,
about that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
It was awesome, and I was like, yo, like that's Kevin Set right there, man. Like his face, and playing for the LA Galaxy, I was so hyped. I was posting on Facebook. I was just doing all this, man. I was so happy. I was like, yo, I'm a soccer player. It was so cool, and my friends or my college housemates, they they were like, oh, that's cool and stuff, and kind of making laughing with me about like wow, how real it is. And then they were like, man, Kevin Set, all right, LA Galaxy. I was like, yes. And then there were times where they actually played with me too. Like, so I would play single player, and then I would have another housemate, my roommate at the time, who would play with me and help me score goals and stuff, because I love to be at the time between a striker and an attacking midfielder. I was like, man, I'm the number 10. Boom, ready to go. Kevin, ready to go. I was so hyped. And I swear, with FIFA 11, I spent at least 600 hours on that game, like easily, because I was so into single player. I was so into multiplayer. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but with FIFA 11, with their online, you have certain players who would use, the best teams all the time, not really having a good mix.
Right.
Barcelona, Real Madrid, and that's cool. But for me, I just try to use maybe 3-star teams like LA Galaxy, and I try to beat them, and I did actually a few times. It was awesome. And there was one point where four of my housemates, three of my housemates and then myself, we were playing FIFA, and at the time I just started new career mode. I was goalkeeper. And they were trolling me the whole way. They're like kicking the ball into the goal. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? They're like messing up my career mode, and I was a little upset at first. I was like, man, I can't get mad at you guys. I mean, come on. And we would say replays me having to save balls that they kicked, trying to get own goals from and I'm just like, oh my god. But it was just nice, like just having that moment where you have a good group of friends who not only care about you, but really care that you're having fun with the game, and also be able to get you up and going in a more competitive sense. So I think that was one of my favorite memories, those couple years playing multiplayer games with them, whether it's Call of Duty or FIFA or even NBA 2K. It was always a good time, and I will forever thank them, for giving me a second chance to, express myself in the multiplayer format. And to this day, if it weren't for them, I don't think I'd be, in a position where I'd enjoy multiplayer games. That's just the truth. So
No, that's cool. Big, larger groups of friends, but kind of tight knit, make certain games just amazingly more enjoyable. Like it's amazing
yeah,
that like we played a full game of 4-player Four Swords Adventures once, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible, and it doesn't happen that often, but when you get it's really really fun. It's really nice.
yeah, it's nice. It's just, yeah, that's what I miss about gaming. Just having people that you can just sit and play together. Well, actually, I've been doing that for a while. Never mind. I mean, it was cool because just last week, some of my friends, they haven't played the Switch in a while, and we just played Mario Tennis Aces together, and it really is something that I appreciate, just being able to play side by side, and like you said, Daryl, playing Four Swords Adventures, and even if you're not good at the game, regardless of skill level, I mean, there's always a way to have a good time, so it's good.
Yeah, lately I actually took my Switch to work to play over lunch periods.
Sweet.
With people, to show them the system, show them the games, and what we actually settled on was Overcooked.
Mm.
And it's kind of funny. I work in a manufacturing environment. It's kind of funny how many principles you can take from that game directly into to real life, like the concept of material movement and flow through the kitchen, really really applied to what we do as a daily job. And
Mhm.
it was fun because kind of like we said last week, Nintendo's really good, and I understand Overcooked is a third party, but the games on Nintendo are very good about, in the most part, very good about introducing gamers and new gamers to them, right? So typically you see some really simple controls, really simple mechanics that you can just say, hey, here's a controller, play with me, and
Right.
an hour or two later, then they're doing, they're pulling their own weight and keeping up with you to some extent. And it's a lot of fun. I really like games that can actually introduce new people to their controls and their concepts pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's just more. It just makes it really accessible, and it's a good introduction for people who haven't played in a long time, and be able to get back to, oh wow, I can. It's just like plug and play. You can, just play like game like Overcooked or other multiplayer games, and just be able to have fun too and feel good about it. I mean, that's really important without having to be too competitive. Because I think sometimes, with multiplayer games, there's that aspect of being very competitive, but sometimes it's not about winning. It's just it really is about having fun, and that's always the most important thing for sure. Well, great. So I guess I guess that's all we have for today. Wow, it's we got some good stories. From how Daryl and his dad bonded together through video games, to Sergio, and how he was able to have good bonds with his cousin and his best friend, and to me with my college housemates. It's always good to hear about these stories. Sometimes for me, when people say that video games is a waste of time, it's this and that, and they always have something dismissive. I'm obviously a little offended because it's more than that. Video games is such a great medium to be able to bond with and share, and teaches you life lessons too that you can learn together. And not only that, but also in my case that I said before, be able to get you going, feel competitive without being too rude, and it's just great. I think it's video game itself is just one of those things that yeah, I would never. I'll tell you right now, I would never ever quit video games like for anything. I think it's just it is ingrained in I'm sure it is for you guys too, but it is ingrained in my body, it is ingrained in my mind. Like it I look up video game news every day and try to figure out like what's the new trend. I do, yeah. It's and like even when Octopath is coming out, like oh man, what's the newest rumors and stuff like. I just oh my gosh, like just the passion is just unreal. Like it really is one of the greatest things in my life, if not the greatest thing in my life. Besides friends and family, obviously, and food.
No, I mean it's the same for me personally, and it's something that it's shaped a big portion of my life, and you're definitely hitting on one of my soapboxes about people who are like, oh yeah, gaming's a waste of time, but then they also
Right.
watch a lot of TV or go to a
Yeah,
ton of
exactly.
movies and stuff. It's like this one is actually our media here is actually connecting with people in a lot of ways. It's using skills and problem solving and such that I've always considered it beneficial to me as a full person.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of studies out there about video games and pattern recognition and problem solving and quick thinking and coordination. I could go on. There's a lot out there, and I think you know e- everything in moderation. But I think it is a relatively healthy and socially healthy activity to take place in, and we're here because we we love it, and
Exactly.
that should
Yeah.
be obvious. But and then to the other point is in the future, if I do have kids, I'm looking forward to passing down some of this to them, kind of the same way that my dad did to me, and then I'm already kind of scoping out. Okay, do I want them to start with the Super Nintendo or like
Oh, that's a good one.
like
Yeah.
we're getting to the part that's gonna be some fun figuring out on the way. Like you know,
Hmm.
anytime you can introduce somebody to this is the first time they'll ever play Ocarina of Time, that's gonna be
Ooh,
a pretty magical experience, right? So
right, right.
we live in a pretty cool world at this point.
Yeah, see, and the thing about video games, it's is that as an entertainment hobby, it has parts of all the others. It has movies with cutscenes, it has reading in like in RPGs, but it's not passive. You're not just reading, you're just not watching. You're doing and reacting, and you're doing it either on your own or with friends, either online or side to side. It's really the greatest hobby I think, or the greatest entertainment hobby that you can engage in, and it's active. It's really great.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with both you guys. I just wish that more people can recognize how much of an impact video games can have on people in a very positive way. I'm very lucky that I still have the college housemates that I've talked about. Like we're still friends today, and every now and then we'll talk about the latest game that came out, and even after college, we'll still play some Call of Duty here and there, but um, nevertheless, certain bonds like that can never break, and it really is magical. It's just and even with like some of my friends now, it's there was at one point where they did have the Nintendo Switch, and we were playing, and it is the same sort of like whoa moment where like it's you're just having fun, and whether it's relieving stress or learning about new skills or things like that. It's just it is really one of the I don't know. I just love it. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, it is the hobby that has given me, half a dozen of my closest friends, indirectly my wife, a closer relationship with my dad. I that it's given me a lot. So pretty cool.
Cool, awesome. Well, I think that's all we have for today. So that is episode 3. We just shared some awesome stories, and thank you for listening. My name is Kevin, and we got Daryl and Sergio. So we are Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram, and it's always good to be able to talk about some of these sort of stories. And tune in next week for another episode. Not sure what we're gonna do yet, but stay tuned.
I will say Octopath is about to come out.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
So
All right, so there you go.
I dare say it'll come up once or twice.
Well, there you go. I take back what I said. Next week is gonna be most likely we'll talk about Octopath. Oh man, I can't believe it.
Octopath all the time.
Octopath Traveler. Oh man. All right. Well, that's all I have to say. What about you guys? You guys have anything left to say about?
No, I think that's it. Make sure to give us a like and follow at
Yes.
your favorite podcast station of your choice. We should be out to most areas at this point. We are also posting copies of all of our podcasts to YouTube. We are on Twitter, as Kevin mentioned, at Nintendo Jump, and give us a follow there. Let us know any comments that you have for the show, anything that we can do better, and we will definitely try to take your feedback. So please just let us know you're listening.
Thank you, and have a good one.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.